Hey there, Motojourno Chris here. Today I'm just going to have a quick chat about three main types of motorcycles. So we've got naked bikes, we've got fared bikes or sports bikes as they're also called, and we've got cruisers. Now this covers pretty much all motorcycles really to an extent. A lot of the other categories are kind of subcategories of these motorcycles. But if you're new to motorcycling or you're just going to go and pick up your first motorcycle, hopefully you think that's a good idea and you want to pursue that, then this is kind of the breakdown for you. First off, we've got naked bikes. It's kind of the traditional motorcycle. It's got no bodywork on it or very limited bodywork. It's the stripped back to basics, and these days there's plenty of options of this bike type, I should say. It starts with something, for instance, say like Honda's CB125. That is a LAMS legal bike, really cheap buy-in here in Australia, which is why they're so popular, because it's almost impossible to find anything cheaper than that unless you go second hand, and you're probably better off on a CB125 than some, destroyed old shitbox that you've picked up, unless you get a really good deal. Anyway, so obviously that's a Honda as well. Very reliable, got a great reputation, and like I said, really popular. The other end of the spectrum in the naked bikes, in the LAMS category again, Yamaha's MT-07. It's a really premium offering, great value for money. It's got that big bike feel, it's got an awesome power plant in it. It's a really nice thing to ride. It's got really cool styling. I mean, obviously that's subjective, but that's the other end, without going to the real expensive end of things, which is like Ducati's Monster 659 or Triumph Street Triple, both of which are great options, but they're considerably more expensive than Yamaha's MT-07. Obviously some offshoots of that are also retro bikes. There's quite a few different options for that as well, which tend to be lower power, old school styled bikes. Not as much plastic, more chrome, more metal. They're aimed at a different market, but they still fall under that naked bike category. Closest to naked bikes are of course cruisers, which again, normally not too much plastic. They've got a V-twin power plant most often, because that's what a cruiser is. They're long, they're low, very easy to handle. Kind of be a more relaxed riding style with the basics that you're going to get as a learner legal machine or a LAMS machine, regardless of where in the world you are. And they are kind of a fun motorcycle. However, at the same time, they don't have the performance lean that the naked bikes do, or the fared bikes or sports bikes, which we'll come to next, do. So especially in the LAMS category, you're a lot more restricted. Obviously there's Harley Street 500, really popular option because it's a Harley. What more do you need to say? And it is a great fun thing to ride. Obviously power's very restrictive. However, at the same time, it's just a great platform to learn on, and when you've only got one model available from Harley, it's just an obvious choice. You can go to the Japanese bikes. They've got some different styled cruisers available. They're definitely worth looking into if you're not set on getting a Harley. So that's totally up to you. But you've got things like Kawasaki's Vulcan, great fun machine to ride. It is quite different than Harley Street 500, and that's something that you will find. The Japanese take on a cruiser tends to be a little bit different than Harley's take, and they've all gone different routes, but it just adds to the variety available for riders, which is a great thing. Now your third option are fared bikes or sports bikes. They've got all the bodywork on them, they're streamlined, they're just like a race machine. So if you follow MotoGP or World Superbikes, you've seen some ads on TV for that kind of stuff. That's what those designs are based on. Some great representatives of the sports bikes are Yamaha's R3 or YZF R3 as it's also called, or Kawasaki's new Ninja 400. In many ways, these are very similar machines in kind of what they offer to people. They carry that old school kind of styled racing machine characteristics, so they rev really high. To get the most out of them, you ride them quite aggressively. You don't have to, but that's the market they are aimed at. If you're someone who wants to be like one of those famous racers like Jonathan Rea or Valentino Rossi or someone like that, then those are the type of bikes that you're most likely going to be looking at. Now, the great thing about these particular LAMS machines because they're produced for new riders, where you jump on an unrestricted sports bike. The ergonomics are aggressive. It's bum up, head down. The bars are quite low. Performance can also be really, really impressive. These days everything's generally pretty good to ride. However, on a sports bike, everything is just more aggressive. On the LAMS sports bikes, it's a little bit different. Generally, there's not that much difference between the sports bikes in the LAMS category and the naked bikes. They've just got fairings on them. For the sports bikes, there might be some slight changes, and that can sharpen up their steering a little bit. But at the same time, they're more upright. They've got nice low seat heights, very, very easy to ride, and just a great fun thing to start with. Obviously, when you're a very new rider, you'll be looking at these machines and you can jump on them and you'll be having plenty of fun. Here in Australia, you'll be spending just over 3 years on your license if you go through as fast as you can, and by the end of those 3 years, for most people, they'll be ready for something with a fair bit more power. And obviously jumping up from there, you jump up to an unrestricted 600 or something like that, you do have a big power jump. But the real benefit of starting on these LAMS legal machines is they've been designed to be as user-friendly as possible, and obviously there's so many options available, so there's something to suit all different kinds of riders, whether it's someone looking for something with a low seat height or manageable power or as much power as you can get within that restricted category. Something for everyone. But what makes these a great option is you can really push your limits on these LAMS machines, and it's much easier to do so within the legal limits on the road, which makes it much easier to stay out of trouble with the police, that is. And also you can kind of push your limits and really build up your skills on something which isn't going to punish you as much as many of the larger bikes will do, because bikes are in many ways all about performance. Less so with cruisers, but most other bikes, the performance you have compared to a car is incredible. Like, you've got so much more performance than your general car, and it's why motorcyclists are renowned as being a bit hoony, and it's because we can take off way quicker than most car drivers, and also because it's more dangerous and it requires a lot more skill to get the most out of motorcycling. Motorcyclists do tend to be more skilled road users than the average driver. Anyway, hopefully this has given you a little bit to think about. At the end of the day, I think probably the most important thing is, number one, go and find the type of bike you like the look of. You're going to be riding it for quite a while. It's really important that you're on a bike that you like, so that every time you go down into your garage and you jump on, all bikes have little individual quirks, but you want to be happy with what you are riding day to day. Number two, of course, which is equally important, but I always say the looks first, because you kind of go, what do I like the look of, and then what suits me. And the suiting you, it's going to be seat height and ergonomics, so that you're comfortable on the bike, that you can get your feet down, so that you can have a level of confidence and security as you learn to ride, because it is easy for things to go wrong. And then obviously within your budget, so whether you're looking at a new bike or a second-hand bike, a lot of the bikes I've talked about have been around for a while, so you can even buy those second-hand and they're great options. Kind of go through that process, so something you like, something that suits you, which does require that you go to your local bike shop, you sit on the bikes, maybe take someone that if possible, who knows things about motorcycle, can give you a little bit of advice. So hopefully this has helped you out with a little bit of advice. Definitely start going to your local bike shops, have a sit on the bikes. You might need to ask whether you're allowed to just jump on stuff. Normally they won't mind at all. Someone might give you a hand to help hold up the bike while you jump on, and start thinking about seriously what you're looking at. Start looking at all your classified websites, check those out, and just get an idea for price, get an idea about what you like, and definitely start making plans. So if you've liked the video, don't forget to leave a comment, if you have liked it, hit that notification bell and the subscribe button. I'm going to be doing a whole heap of videos on this topic. I'm going to be going through pretty much everything that I can imagine, and hopefully if people give me a bit of input, I'll add those topics to videos, and we'll be covering everything from the very basics on through to even eventually getting onto a full powered motorcycle and what that entails. So have a good afternoon, and I'll talk to you again soon.